What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, previous vlog. So thanks for coming back. So today I'm going to be doing another video, and today's going to be on the TrailBlazer again. Now, how do you know when it's time to replace spark plugs on the car? Well, most manufacturers out there have an interval. Nowadays it's about 100,000 miles. Before it used to be 50, 60, 30,000 miles on some. Actually, on the CTS here, because it is a twin turbo, it requires every 50,000 miles for the spark plugs, which I already did on this one. On like the Rogue that I had, the video I had earlier, that one has, it's about every 100,000 miles or 105,000 miles for Nissan. So I have 160,000 miles on the TrailBlazer. And so far, like I said last video, I've done, of course, the tires on the car so far. I still got to do the brakes, and we did the belt. Even though I'm still getting a squeaking when the car is in idle, or actually not when it's idle. When it's idle, there's no squeaking noise, but when you're driving, there's a squeaking noise. So I got to do the tensioner. I think the tensioner is also bad. I actually have that in the box, but that's not what this video is about. This one is about spark plugs. 160,000 miles. I'm not sure when the plugs were done. Shoot, I don't even know when the differential oil, transfer case, transmission oil has been done. It's been taken care of. The car looks great, but again, those things are something, just regular maintenance things that you want to take care of, and I do that on all my cars. Doesn't matter if it's the wife's car, my car, all the fluids get changed, and a lot of people don't. People say, oh, I've never needed to change the fluid or whatever. I do it all. I do all maintenance on the cars. Yesterday, I actually just did the differential, front and rear, and the transfer case fluid. I still have to do the trans fluid, and the belt was done on the last video. You guys saw that. Now we're going to do the spark plugs. The only reason I'm doing it is because, again, 160,000 miles, I don't know if they've ever been done. So, and another thing is, when you're driving the car, now I've never really driven one of these, so I don't know how the car feels when it's in, 100% performing. But I do feel the car drags when I'm in a high. When you hit the gas, it kind of feels like a slight drag, like it doesn't have all the power that it's supposed to have. And also, from the exhaust, you smell the gas coming out of there, like unburned gas. Now, there's no check engine lights, nothing like that. I've checked for pending codes, no, nothing like that. So there's nothing that the car's misfiring or anything like that. But you smell unburned gas. So more likely, the spark plugs will help that situation, because what do the spark plugs do? They burn the gas inside the engine. That's what they're there for. They ignite to burn the gas. Well, if they're not firing properly, or if they're weak, then they're gonna burn all the gas, which is also not good for the catalytic converter in the long run. So today, we're gonna go ahead and do the spark plugs on this thing. And last time I did spark plugs in the car, I had an issue where the porcelain broke all over the place, and I had to get it out with grease. Just put a screwdriver, fill it up with grease, and it was a mess. So let's hope I don't have that luck today. I hate doing spark plugs. I'm always scared I'm gonna break one inside the engine. But whatever, let's go ahead and get this done. And I don't want to pay a dealer 2 or 3 hours to do spark plugs at $150 or $160 rate, whatever they charge. So I'm gonna do them and just hope for the best at this point. So they're pretty hard to break in there, but anyways, let's go ahead and pull these cars out of here, and we'll get started on the TrailBlazer. So now that we got the cars out of the way, garage is empty, no cars at least, let's go ahead and get the TrailBlazer in here. Alright, so truck is inside. First thing we're gonna do is take this off to get to the spark plugs. The hardest one is going to be number 6, which is pretty much all the way in the back down there. Especially behind that one, that's 5. There's another one way behind there. So we'll see how we get to that one. So here are all the plugs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way inside of there. That's the pain. To get the air box off, or the resonator that was on top here, the throttle doesn't look that clean either. Seems like it's never been cleaned. But to get that air box out of there, the top air box is here, says Vortex. There is 1, 2 bolts, 10mm bolts they gotta get out. And of course, you have to undo the clamp that's wrapped around the throttle body. As well as in the back of it, there is this wiring clip. Basically, it just holds a wire harness in there. So you gotta unclip it for that to be able to come off. So from the looks of it, I don't think this has any of these plugs have ever been done on this car. Looks like everything's original, so we're gonna have to start taking these off. I'm gonna take out one plug first, and I'm gonna actually see if it needs to be replaced. Because if I take one plug out and it seems like it's decent, then I'm not, again, I'm just checking them at this point. If I have to go buy them, I will, but I just wanna check them and make sure that they've been replaced before. All right, so all the plugs are out. The only one I took out of here for the coils is coil number 2 here that I put on the side of the bench over here, but every other one I just kind of moved out of the way. You gotta be careful that none of those wires, of course, break in there, but there's all the coils over there. So I did have a bit of a scare. I was pulling out plug number 4 or 5, which is this one right in here. And yeah, the porcelain broke. Luckily, of course, the part that I need to get the car, or get the coil out, or the plug out, I mean, was still remained inside, and I was able to get it out. I had to actually get in there with this breaker bar and praying to every god known to man out there. It came out. I should say praying to the car gods. I want to be religiously lynched here, but it came out. I was able to get all of them out of there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is in here. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go buy the plugs, put new plugs in there, finish this thing up, and then go count my graces after this happened. So be right back. All right, so as we're driving over to get the spark plugs for the TrailBlazer, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I hate doing plugs. I did it on the Rogue that my wife had. If you guys remember that video, I'll put the link in the description. That one I had issues with too. The porcelain broke on that one. When on this one, same thing. I was pulling out plug number 5, which is pretty much right under the windshield area right there on the collar right there. 6 is even further in. You know, I put everything in there, put the socket to it, put the wrench on it, turned it, and it snapped. I just heard it pop. I'm like, great. Pull out, of course, I see the porcelain there. So, of course, naturally, I freak out for a split second. Then I notice it's just the porcelain in there once I get it out of the spark plug socket. So I'm all right, calm down. So I ended up having to put a breaker bar, honestly, that actually was, it's a low-profile breaker bar I have that could fit in very tight spaces. I put it in there, put the extension in there, dropped it in there, and sure enough, I was able to get 6 and 5, the rest of 5 out. Honestly, I was freaking out. So I hate doing plugs. I just always have this fear that I'm gonna break the actual, just, you know, leave the actual bolt part's gonna stay in there, or the nut, I should say, is gonna stay in there, or break off or whatever, and the thread's gonna be crossed out, and then I'm gonna be screwed. So luckily that didn't happen. It was just the porcelain. I was able to get the rest of it out. But right now we are on our way to get the plugs. Now I'm not going to AutoZone. I don't go to Napa. I don't get them on Amazon. This is, when it comes to plugs, I like doing original equipment plugs. I don't like doing aftermarket plugs. So I'm gonna go to Chevy dealership. I'm picking them up from there. I pay a little bit more because they do mark up their parts, of course, but I don't like doing aftermarket plugs. Some of them you have to gap anyways. Usually when you order them or you get them from the dealer, they're already gapped. They're already ready to go. Put them on and go. So quite a little bit of a drive from my house to the dealer, but it's gonna be worth it at the end. Like I said, you guys saw how the plugs were. The little dials were pretty much gone. And when you drove the car, you did smell like unburned gas. And I don't have a check engine light. I don't have any codes for anything or like that. So it's pretty much the plugs are not doing their job anymore. So I'm gonna put these new plugs, put everything back in, and then start the car, and hopefully that makes the car drive even better than it already did. So I mean, the car, again, the truck drives phenomenal as it is, but with these new plugs, it should drive even better, and you shouldn't smell that gas that feels like it's unburned gas that's coming out of the exhaust. So I'm gonna continue my drive. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so back home, got all the spark plugs here. Well, all 6 spark plugs, and about to put them back on the car. I'm gonna start with number 6 over there, because that's the hardest one, and then come down this way, of course. I moved all the coil packs over, so you should be okay with those. All I keep hearing is this tape crunching. It just scares me that I'm gonna screw up a wiring here, and that's gonna be the end of this thing. I'm gonna have to freaking fix a wire. But if you're doing this is probably the easiest way to do it. It's laziest, but now you got these things kind of just hanging there, you know, with all the weight on them. I did it that way because I didn't want to unplug these, and I don't want to take these little things out of there. But hopefully everything plugs back in the right way and goes back in But that's the quickest way to do it, just move them out of the way. The only one I actually unplugged was number 2. So go ahead and get these new plugs in there. And actually, let's look at the plugs, the difference between the new ones and the old ones. New plug and the old plug. Look at that. You can tell those things were done. Like I said, I smelled gas. There was unburned gas coming out of the exhaust. It just didn't smell right. So this might help do this. Of course, this is going to help a lot, even in performance, acceleration, and everything else. So let's go ahead and get these things put on. All done. I got to bolt them down. Here's, of course, number 2 right here. That's got to go in. And then we'll do number 1, bolt it down, put everything back together. And then actually with this one, you could actually start the car before I put in the resonator or that Vortec air dam up here, whatever that is. So just to make sure that everything's running properly, because if not, then you're gonna have to take all that off all over again. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish bolting these down, put everything back together, and we'll start it up. All right, so I completely forgot to film when I first started the car. And of course here, you could hear this chirping. That's gotta be the pulley. That's gotta be the pulley. If it's this, because now it doesn't go away when you spray water in it. It's constantly there. But anyways, that'll be something. I have the pulley. I'm not gonna do it today. Probably do it for another day. But anyways, when I first started the car, I had the intake off and the car was running rough. So we will actually, I had to connect the intake. It's not bolted down yet, but the car is running smooth. No check engine light, just that airbag light that's constantly on. But the car is running way smoother. I mean, you can actually, you don't even feel this thing running. That's how good it is. Before you felt a vibration and everything, let me put this thing in drive. And then you hear the noise. Of course, it gets louder when it goes into drive. But the car is way smoother. I mean, you don't feel it. It felt like before, it just didn't feel right. Now, only when it goes into drive, that starts making that noise. So let's shut it off and bolt everything down. So yeah, only when it goes into drive, it's got that bad squeak. Now it's either the pulley, which I'm thinking that's what it is, the actual tensioner. I keep saying the pulley, but the tensioner, or it's the pulley for the power steering pump, which is right down here as well, which I'm not going through all that, at least not right now. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, button her up. Got to put the bolts back on here. Make sure we clamp this back down. The same thing with the clamp that's over here for this one. That's got to be clamped back down. And then we're going to go ahead and go for a drive and see how she rides. All right, so everything's bolted back down. Intake. Let's go drive this thing. So far, I mean, I'm doing really good here. For accelerating, no issues. No check engine light. No misfire when accelerating. And it's before when I used to accelerate, the car you could feel the hesitation. You could feel that it felt kind of heavy, like it was dragging. And again, those spark plugs were not helping out. Now you accelerate, and even though the truck is a heavy truck, you still feel it actually pick up speed right away almost. All right, so I was driving here. Definitely feel a difference in power. I want to make sure that there's no, I'm going to accelerate this thing, make sure there's no kind of misfire or anything, especially when you accelerate. Only lights I have on are my normal 2 lights, the airbag light and the service stability check, and that's because of the steering angle sensor. So let's go ahead and keep driving this thing and see how it picks up. But car's driving great. Spark plugs, again, had a little bit of a scare with that spark plug from number 5 there that broke on me. The ceramic broke, but got it out. They went in smoothly. I did put some anti-seize back on there, so if I have to take them down, check them back out for whatever reason, then they come out smoothly again. It's not something that they're gonna be stuck in there if I don't put anti-seize. So, all right, so after today, I'm done with this for today. This is gonna be tomorrow. We will be taking the car to, again, my buddy's shop, or my buddy's brother's shop, where he's gonna be doing the small leak that I have on the pinion seal on there, and as well gonna be fixing that the steering angle sensor issue, so the stability track light starts coming on, and it's gonna reset the light for the airbag. I think the airbag light came on right after they detailed it. They might have hit some kind of wiring or something underneath the seat causing that to come on. I checked all the connections, they're all tight. So we're gonna reset it, see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't come back on. I don't have any light left on that car. And then of course, next video on that will probably be something with the K&N filter that I'm waiting still that I haven't gotten, and a couple other things I'm gonna be doing to. So for now, today I'm gonna go ahead and spend some time with my family, and then I will see you guys